In 1918, Faulkner's surname went from Faulkner to Faulkner. According to one story, a careless typesetter simply made an error. When the misprint appeared on the title page of his first book, Faulkner was asked whether he wanted a change. He supposedly replied, "Either way suits me."
William Cuthbert Faulkner, September 25, 1897, July 6, 1962, was an American writer and Nobel Prize laureate from Oxford, Mississippi. He is one of the most celebrated writers in American literature generally and Southern literature specifically. Faulkner was known for his experimental style with meticulous attention to diction and cadence. In contrast to the minimalist understatement of his contemporary Ernest Hemingway, Faulkner made frequent use of stream of consciousness in his writing, and wrote often highly emotional, subtle, cerebral, complex, and sometimes gothic or grotesque stories of a wide variety of characters including former slaves or descendants of slaves, poor white, agrarian, or working-class Southerners, and Southern aristocrats.
A narrative style that draws us into the fictional dream. Language that conforms to standard rules of syntax, meaning, and punctuation. Typography that conforms to printed conventions regarding margins, etc. Experimental fiction breaks one or more of the conventions that the reader expects to find.
And even a liar can be scared into telling the truth, same as honest man can be tortured into telling a lie. William Faulkner. Light in August.
Diction is a literary device that's the choice of words or style used by the writer in order to convey their message. Basically, that's a fancy way of saying that diction is the way in which the author wants to write to a specific audience.
Cadence is derived from the Latin word cadentia, which means a falling. It is the term used to signal the rising and falling of the voice when reading a literary piece. In poetry, it is the momentary changes in rhythm and pitch. Cadence has helped set the rhythmic pace of a literary piece.
Literary minimalism is characterized by an economy with words and a focus on surface description. Minimalist writers eschew adverbs and prefer allowing context to dictate meaning. Readers are expected to take an active role in creating the story, to choose sides based on oblique hints and innuendo, rather than react to directions from the writer.
Stream of consciousness, narrative technique in non-dramatic fiction intended to render the flow of myriad impressions, visual, auditory, physical, associative, and subliminal, that impinge on the consciousness of an individual and form part of his awareness along with the trend of his rational thoughts. Subtle, especially of a change or distinction, so delicate or precise as to be difficult to analyze or describe. Gothic. The adjective Gothic describes something that is characterized by mystery, horror, and gloom, especially in literature. Gothic can also describe something barbaric, rude, and unenlightened as if from medieval times. This use of the word is usually capitalized. Grotesque, comically or repulsively ugly or distorted. Pace, rhythm, beat, tempo, cadence, swing. Eschew, deliberately avoid using, abstain from. Oblique hint, idiom. A slight or indirect indication or suggestion. Choose, pick sides, idiom. To support one person or cause and not the other. Innuendo, an elusive or oblique remark or hint, typically a suggestive or disparaging one. Myriad, 10,000, a great number. Subliminal, inadequate to produce a sensation or a perception. Impinge, have an effect, especially a negative one. The trend, a general direction in which something is developing or changing.
Eventually he abandoned his efforts as a poet to focus solely on his fiction.
After 50 years. Her house is empty and her heart is old, and filled with shades and echoes that deceive no one save her, for still she tries to weave with blind bent fingers, nets that cannot hold. Once all men's arms rose up to her, 'tis old, and hovered like white birds for her caress. A crown she could have had to bind each tress of hair, and her sweet arms the witch's gold. Her mirrors know her witnesses, for there she rose in dreams from other dreams that lent her softness as she stood, crowned with soft hair. And with his bound heart and his young eyes bent and blind, he feels her presence like shed scent, holding him body and life within its snare. William Faulkner.
William Faulkner's poem discusses the relationship between aging and love. Devotion or loyalty is a closely related theme, as the 50 years of the title probably refer to a relationship, such as a marriage, between a woman and a man. Another theme is sight, as he discusses both visual appearance and mental perceptions by using the word blind. As the woman has grown old and looks backward, the poet offers the theme of nostalgia. She remembers all the men who courted her but retains the vision of the one who was most devoted to her. Expert answers.